Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for my client Jack's vlog. And Jack is doing a deload this week. We were noting a little bit of inflammation. He has a meet coming up here late this year. We've been making decent progress coming back up. You know, he is at a lighter body weight. He's going to be in a lighter weight class. So that being said, you know, if we can just get him close to where he was at a higher weight class coming up at his next meet, we're going to consider that a great success. And I think most powerlifters will agree with that. Most lifters will, you know, particularly for a guy who's competing drug tested, to drop a weight class if we can keep lifts pretty close, because he wants to be a little leaner, he wants to be a little healthier, right? He doesn't want to be fluffy. So if we can get similar total, what does that mean? That means our dots are going to go up. Okay, that is a great success. It's a great success, because then we're healthier, we're fitter, while still being strong. So that's going to be kind of the name of the game. That's where I want to get him. You know, I want to get him to where we're cracking over a 500 deadlift again. I want that bench up in the low 300s. I want that squat up past 400. You know, I want that there for him in a lighter weight class. That's where we want to be. Okay? Puts us in a good situation. So, that also means we need to watch overuse. Okay? He's getting a little inflammation. His tendons and his pec were hurting a little bit. You know, just some little minor aches and pains. All right, now a lot of people, again, when they don't have a coach, they're going to say, well, you know, I can push for a few more weeks. Do I really need a deload? Maybe I'll just take some ibuprofen. You know, it'll all be good. There's no point in us doing that, and here's why. If we're reaching to that point to where we're getting that little bit of inflammation, we've already stimulated lots of adaptation, right? We're in a very, very good place. We're in a good place. Let's get in, do a deload. We'll continue to gain muscle in that recovery. And that's something people forget with some of the deload weeks. You know, it is possible to gain muscle during your deload week. Right? We maintain the movement patterns. We still have some decent volume. We're still riding the wave of that previous work. You can gain a little bit. But the upside, you're coming out of it fully recovered. Right, fully recovered. And I don't intentionally overreach and do overreaching, underreaching models. I simply have clients who at normal workloads, you know, we get into these problems. Some of my guys have, you know, really bad recovery, and when using really what would be moderate volume for a lot of people, we have to deload them, you know, relatively often. Okay, now he's not necessarily in that category. He's not in that category, but this stuff does come up. Okay, it comes up. People get under stress. They have certain things that go on with the fatigue management. So, you know, we deload. We take a deload. We still train. It's just real light. And in his case, we do 40% of his training maxes. You guys will notice it's very straightforward. We continue to do squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press on their own days. Have him do 5 sets of 10 at 40% training max. Instead of the back off work that's normally 50%, we're not doing heavy work first. We're not getting beat up by that. You know, so I have him do that for the squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press. His lower days, we're coming in and doing a few leg raises. I want him to keep his abs strong. Now, notice he's not particularly strong at these leg raises. All right, so what does that tell us? You know, we don't need to keep working his abs. When you have a guy who deadlifts 500 plus, who's not at a real high body weight, and they can't get those legs all the way up, you know, we that's a good sign that, okay, we definitely need to get those abs a little stronger. So I want to make sure he trains those during his deload weeks. Okay, I want to make sure he trains them. We do some rowing, right? We do some rowing because, again, deadlifts aren't really enough for the upper and middle back. They're not enough by themselves, even on a deload week. So, you know, we do some rowing. Now, I was going to have him do dumbbell rows. He's like, there's a machine they have here I wanted to go ahead and try. Plus, he's like, it'll let on my low back rest. I want to just try it out. So he went ahead and did that. Not a big deal. But, you know, here's the idea. We get 5 sets of, you know, fairly low stimulus on our big lifts. We get some ab work in. We get some rowing in. Maintain the movement patterns, re-spark some muscle protein synthesis. Right? Keep everything in a good place. And the other thing, I still like the volume here. And that's something, especially with a lifter like this, people would say, well, if they want to recover, like, why are you still doing like 5 sets of 10 just with lighter weight? Well, we come over to what sort of deload does he need? What are we noticing? We're noticing some tendons. Okay, he's getting a little tendon inflammation. Well, do we want to just let it fully rest, or do we want to keep getting blood flow to it? I would rather load a little bit of tension on it for enough volume that we get blood flow. It's really an active recovery thing. Okay, because a lot of times a coach might drop them down. I've seen coaches will do 3x3, 3x5 with a lighter weight. It would be heavier than this 40%. But they'll do that, and they're still, obviously sub-failure sets, but it's like, no, I want to get that blood flow. I like to, for a lot of these lifters like this, continue to get that blood flow to these areas. There's still some training volume, and we're still accruing some metabolic fatigue. We're not going to get tension on a deload week, quit worrying about it. But with that many reps, we're still getting a little bit of metabolic fatigue, and it's very easy to recover from. It's continuing to get blood flow to those tendons. All right, so it's one of the methods I like to deload using, depending upon the lifter. You guys will notice I do the same thing with Robert, who historically suffers from, tendon inflammation. He historically suffers from those things. So for someone like Jack, I want to use a very similar approach. Right? It is mainly about getting a little bit of metabolic fatigue with some volume, getting some active recovery, maintaining blood flow to those areas. Right? Because we need that. We need that. We want that. It's desirable. Rather than just weeks off. And I'm not saying some of my deload people don't do weeks off. I'm not saying I haven't done that in the past. But in this case, it's a specific type of deload I want to utilize for some of these lifters. And a lot of my guys, like right now, have their own vacation, right? Like Garrett's on vacation. He's out of town. Right? He's not going to be able to do any of his barbell work. He's out hiking and stuff. Okay. It's fine. That's a different scenario. And that's how a lot of my deloads go. We just kind of look at the fact they're on vacations. In fact, I have 2 different clients who are on vacations right now. Another who's about to go on one. So, they do what they can with what they have available. Right? And that's how we work it. But that's different scenario. Those aren't deloads that we're taking because we need them. They're just their lifestyle dictating it. Their lifestyle is dictating it. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.